Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up,
yes,
then run it back.
Happy Thursday. This is Run It Back. Look at us. Our family just got a little smaller. Lose around. Chandler, Boogie, Michelle. Got a lot of games that we want to talk about from last night. We're going to start with the late one. It wasn't that late. Warriors and Rockets. Goodness gracious, Jalen Green had himself an evening. Houston wins 109-94. Jimmy Butler is the story we're probably going to start with here, but I just want to mention that Green finished with 38 points. Sengun finished with 17. Tari Eason had 14 off the bench, and Steph with 20. The win is great, but the Jimmy Butler at all for Golden State is an issue. He left the game, was not able to return. Here's where we're going to get a little bit weird. Was this... Talk to me about what you're seeing here. Golly, that looks way worse when you watch it over and over again.
I see a freak accident.
Yeah, I don't think this is dirty at all. I think this is both guys kind of a loose ball here. No one is pushing anybody into the person on purpose. Obviously, Thompson's just kind of, they're flailing around here, and he's trying to go get his offensive rebound. Draymond kind of grabs him. I hate the narrative that this is dirty on either of their parts, on Draymond's or Thompson's. This is just like Boogie just said, this is kind of a freak accident play where they just clipped his heel, and hopefully he's okay. Obviously, he's getting MRIs and stuff today. I don't think anything's going to be broken or fractured or anything serious, but he is going to be violently sore for a while.
Yes, that bruised tailbone, anything of that nature, that's always a very, very sensitive injury. It definitely takes some time to get over an injury like that. You know, not wishing that on Jimmy. Hopefully, I'm completely wrong, and you know the results come back completely opposite. But you know, wish him health, wish him a speedy recovery. But it's definitely a big blow to the Warriors.
I mean, it's a huge blow because since the trade deadline, that's been the story, right? Jimmy got there and Golden State turned things around, and immediately you just sort of felt like, uh-oh, what is this going to look like? If he does have to miss multiple games, how much trouble are they in?
It's not great. We can see the difference, how much better of a team this is with Jimmy in the lineup. Offensively, just creating a little more separation, a little more second option for Steph Curry to not get guarded the way he usually gets guarded. And Udoka even said that afterwards. He said, we can now, with Jimmy out, shift our focus back to solely on Steph Curry, basically. So that hurts them to not have that counter. It obviously hurts their defense. They have their third leading scorer all year long, Jonathan Kuminga, who has averaged 15 points, who's now finally going to get the opportunity. He got it last night. He didn't play in the play-in. He didn't play in the first two games, or the last couple of games. So you have to insert him now and let him do the things that he does, because you're missing a lot of production. You're missing a lot of athleticism, toughness, everything that Jimmy Butler brings. They're going to collectively have to find that somewhere else if he is out.
If he is out.
I don't know if he's going to be out. This is something I think he could just manage, right? It's not like...
It's a pain thing. And they do have the extra day. There's 2 days. They have 2 days off in between.
That's great.
So
that's great for them.
A lot of ice, a lot of cold tub, a lot of massage, but I hope it's nothing serious.
Yeah, that was a scary fall, and you know, obviously they're going to depend on their guys coming off the bench, guys like Kuminga of that sort. But my fear is, at this point in the season, do we feel like the Warriors have lost Kuminga because possibly confidence issues? I watched him play last night, and he didn't seem too confident. He kind of seemed like he was a deer in the headlights. He didn't really have a flow. It didn't seem like he was really meshing with the team and what was going on. Honestly, it felt like most of the lineups that Steve put in last night were just kind of scraping and scrambling for the most part in the game. So I did notice that, and it's a bit of a concern in my eyes.
And how could he not be a little bit rattled?
Well, you're not being, because number one, he's a free agent this summer, and you don't want to have any bad, you know, talks about on your name. You don't want any talks about you competing or things getting in your head. Teams across, other 29 teams know that Jonathan Kuminga is a player. He's 22 years old. The guy's averaging 15 points in the NBA in a season. That is at 15-3. He obviously needs to work on his three-point shooting, but he does so much stuff good that there's got to be a way to find minutes, even with Jimmy Butler on the floor, in my opinion. I don't know how you go from playing all year long to up and down. It feels like there's something else there, because I don't care when we're talking about matchups or fit or styles. Like, you can find minutes for Kuminga if you're finding minutes for Santos and these other guys that play. So that doesn't make sense to me. So I hope he doesn't get too mentally, you know, beaten down and allow that to affect his game, because he's got a huge payday coming this summer regardless, everything he's been through. And I think he probably hopes he's not in Golden State next year after the way his up and down career has gone there. So
it really has been.
He has a great opportunity now to even showcase himself more to these other teams that are going to bid on him being a restricted free agent this summer.
Boogie, I want to talk about physicality because there are Warriors fans out there. They don't love this for their team. It's been very physical, but I think those of us watching are like, this is awesome to see. Do they have a point? Are the Rockets too physical? What have you seen?
It is getting to a point where I think the refs are letting too much go. It was one, yeah, and obviously as a fan, as a physical player myself, I enjoy this type of basketball. I think this is, you know, the foundation of basketball. I think this has always been a part of it. I think in the past, you know, 10, 15, possibly 20 years, we've kind of shied away from the physicality of basketball. But with all that being said, it was some plays within the game that I thought, you know, the refs let go a little too much. It was one specific play where Peyton tried to drive down the lane and go for a dunk. He just completely got clipped. I think Steve called a timeout immediately afterwards. So it was plays like that that stood out to me, and that's just like, you have to make those calls. Some things you just can't let go. But as far as the series, I think it's a great series. I think both teams are competing very, very hard. I enjoy the physicality of it. I don't see anything wrong with it, but it is some place that got missed last night.
And you always hear the term playoff basketball. This is what that's
right.
about. This is what makes these series so intense and physical. And again, when you play someone 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row in a week and a half span, like they're going to irritate you. You're going to know their stuff. So it's going to come down to all this other stuff, that who gets the 50-50 balls, who's on the floor first, who's taking charges. So a lot of that, the talent, the plays, the sets, the terminology, that's all gets taken out, and it's who's going to play harder. And the Rockets showed last night they bounced back. They had jitters the first game. They didn't look good. Jalen Green was unbelievable last night. He's got to find a way to be more consistent like this. But as far as the Warriors fans being unhappy, you got one of the more physical, you know, players on your team, Draymond Green, that loves this environment. And as a referee, you almost have to officiate a game differently with Draymond in it. If Draymond Green does certain things, he's got priors. He's going to get teed up. If other guys do, like if Draymond Green did hit Porzingis in the face like that, it's probably a flagrant 2 and he's tossed, you know what I mean, because of his reputation. So when you talk about the physicality and all that, Draymond Green is a huge part of that too. So
There it is. Here we go.
So you can't be mad at them when they do it, when other teams do it, but not when your guy's been doing it for, 7, 8, 9 years.
In fairness, he did turn away. So that's
progress.
That's progress.
Progress.
Wait, can we talk Jalen Green for a second? By the way, there were so many Jalen Green, Steph Curry, it was fun to watch. All of it was fun to watch.
It was great to watch.
But the 38 points was amazing, and I know that the Warriors have been favored to come out of this series. But I got to ask you, Chandler, if we get that Jalen Green, this version, does it change your mind on who's winning?
Yeah, especially with the uncertainty of Jimmy Butler, if he's going to be in and out of the lineup, how Kuminga's going to respond. But this is the version that they need for Jalen Green. This is why they paid him. This is why they see him as a future, building block of the dynamic duo with Sengun. He still is a little inconsistent. He still gets a little erratic and takes some bad shots. But look at those numbers from game 1 to he was 3 for 15 from game 1, 13 of 25 from game 2. He was -5 on the plus minus. He was plus 19. So it shows me I'm not a big plus minus guy, but that just shows you he's impacting winning. The team is winning when he's on the floor drastically more in game 2 than game 1. And again, he's going to take some shots. He's going to get hot. You got to live with a guy like this taking some bad ones, but he's just got to find a way to be a balance of somewhat aggressive, somewhat consistent, good shots here, quick shots here, because I think that's where he gets a little lost, where he takes some early bad long step backs, and that's where it kind of just bogs down the offense.
Is that youth? Is that a youth thing?
It's definitely a youth thing, and the scary part about it, with everything he's displaying, with the talent, the offensive games that he's having, just everything he's showing, he's still learning how to play this game. He's still not a finished product. He's not even close. This is still a very young kid. He's still early in his career, but his potential is through the roof and it's showing. But once he is able to find that consistency, he's going to be a star in his league.
Yeah, and again, 7 points game 1. I don't think that's going to happen often for a guy like him. You can't go from 7 to 38. You got to find a happy medium to where you can be counted on. You can get to the free throw line. You can find other ways to score, even if the jumper's not falling for him.
I know before this even started, everyone's already like, the Kevin Durant watch had been on. Houston's been one of those teams that's been mentioned and possibly getting him. But Boogie, they've got Green and Sengun. They've paid both of them. Are they enough? Is this duo that they've put together and grown, is that enough to be contending?
As of right now, I don't think so. But these kids aren't finished products. They're not even close. They're barely scratching the surface of how good they can become. Sengun, one of my favorite up-and-coming bigs in this league. He's full of potential. I hate hearing, the Jokic comparisons when it comes to him. And
Why?
the reason being is I think he's his own special talent. I don't think you have to compliment him by comparing him to Jokic. Obviously, they have some similarities, but I think he has his own game, his own art to the game, and I think Jokic has his. So I do see a lot of potential in this kid. I think he will be a star eventually in this league as well. But as of right now, I don't think it's enough to compete. But down the line, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win a title this year. I think there's growth. I think they're on the right path. I think Udoka's created something special here where at least it's a destination now to play with these two guys. And again, even if it's, I think they're set in stone on Sengun. That's their guy going forward. And who knows if Jalen Green, if he can develop this consistency we're talking about. If not, there's a lot of other teams that will want him in the deal to bring on someone like a Kevin Durant or someone we talked to. So they're in great shape. I'm excited to see if they do it on the road. Like, how do they respond on the road? Such a young team going to that environment. Can Jalen Green find a way to be efficient, get to his spots? Can Fred VanVleet's got to be better too. Everyone's got to collectively be better, and it's going to be fun to see how they respond in that building.
It's going to be very, very loud in there.
Very loud.
They're going to be very amped. Magic, Celtics. Look, we knew Magic, they weren't going to just lay down. You didn't have Jason Tatum on the Boston side of things. But unfortunately for Orlando, it didn't really matter. Boston wins it 109-100. Jaylen Brown, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Porzingis with a 20 and 10 night. And Banchero finished with 32. So, yep, there he is. Not playing in this one with the wrist bruise. And it didn't really matter in the end, Boogie. And I think that's why people look at the Celtics as the favorite no matter what their record was, because it's next man up, and they don't have any issues. Do you agree?
I agree. This team is so deep. It's so much experience. They've been here before. This was a well put together team a season ago. I don't really see anybody matching up with them in the East. I do feel like they'll sweep the Magic in this series, but their team is just so loaded. It's full of talent. I don't really see it this way.
You're like, I just died.
Yeah,
no point in any of this.
It's hard to even really critique this team in a negative way and say they need to do this better. They're a complete team, and obviously they're the reigning champs for a reason. I think they'll continue to push through the East.
Yeah, they're so solid. They don't have holes. They don't have weaknesses. They're so good defensively. When they're not making shots, they can beat you. When they slow down the half court, they can get out and run. They shoot more threes than anybody. So they live and die with that, and they're living instead of dying. So they're unbelievable. Porzingis showed some toughness last night, too, getting the shots of the dome and still coming back and embracing the crowd. I love that. That's exactly what you want to see with this. With your best player out, take your best player off all these other teams in the playoffs. They're probably going to lose.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah,
take off Jokic off them. The Clippers are like, take off Cade Cunningham on the Pistons. Like, the Knicks run away with that series. They're still so good, and this is where the 1A and 1B is. Last year, there was this whole thing with Jaylen Brown. Is he the best player?
Oh, yeah. Who
really cares? But it's good when you see Tatum's out. You have that guy to go take over a game and dominate. And for the Magic side, this is a tough one because this is the one you should have stole. Like no Jason Tatum going back home. You can even it up. So this is a tough one here. I think this is deflating. Looking across, their best player not playing, and we still didn't find a chance to win. Again, it's a process for them, but this was a bad loss. This is the one they needed.
I'm wondering, too, because Jaylen Brown did finish with 36 points. And yeah, you're right. We used to have that conversation. I feel like it got settled once he was the MVP of the finals and we can all just move on with our lives. But now if there's still somebody lingering out there that's like, wow, they didn't have their best player, I actually it's not a cringe, but I don't think it's just hands down that Jason Tatum's the best player on the Celtics. To me, it just genuinely feels like a two-headed monster equally.
That's exactly what it is. And I don't know why it ever became a conversation in the first place.
Jay Kidd tried to stir up the pot before the finals and get in their head.
I mean, that's definitely a Jay Kidd move, but it should never even be a conversation. These two guys are teammates. They enjoy being teammates. They mesh well together. They play well together. Like, they lead this team in the perfect way. It shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. It's definitely a 1A, 1B type situation. If one guy's down, the other one has his back and vice versa. So I don't see the issue. I don't see the problem. Just let these guys continue to be great.
We would talk last year about the depth of this team not being great. Then they have the sixth man of the year now, Peyton Pritchard. Then Hauser becomes a real threat from the three-point line. Al Horford, he's 40 years old. He's still unbelievable. So when you have those 6, 7, 8 men that are still that productive and efficient, it doesn't matter because in the playoffs, the rotation is shortened anyways, and they have the best 8 in the NBA.
This was fun. I kind of like, we won't name them all, but this is a fun question, Chandler. Jaylen Brown with the rest of the league, would he be the best player on half of the teams in the league? Like, where are you putting that number?
Yeah, he'd be the best player on half. There's certain situations, like he's not better than Wemby, even like on Spurs. There's certain guys like that, but like, yeah, Jaylen Brown, I'll take him over anybody on the Rockets right now. I'll take him, Jaylen Brown is such a stud. He's a two-way player. He's tough. He's available. He's so athletic. And he's going to continue to get better. He's not even reached his prime yet.
Is it more than half?
Again, yeah. Last year the debate was he could be the best player on the best team. Of course he's going to be the best player on half the teams. But again, I hate to even do that to him because yeah, he is. He's a top 15 player in the NBA, which makes him the best player on half the teams.
Yes.
Just to make it simple.
It's that simple. He can go to most teams, not only be the best player, but also make them a better team. Without question. It's not even really a discussion. Yeah. So.
But there's some tough ones. Like, do you take him over Cade Cunningham? Do you take him over Jalen Brunson and talent? Like,
so Utah, yes. Sacramento, yeah. Like, we just go down.
All those.
It's definitely more than half.
Yeah.
For sure, it's more than half.
Chicago.
Oh, yeah. What about Orlando?
Right now, yeah.
Okay, there it is. That's the one.
I agree, yeah.
There was blood last night. Blood runs red in the NBA. Dude, what is even happening? That was that's Kristaps Porzingis' crazy smile through the whole thing, and Joe Mazzulla was asked about it. He was getting a standing ovation for this. Here's Joe, because this is.
I do.
Classic.
I love watching him. I like watching him bleed on the court. I think it's important, and then he comes back in and does his job. So I do like that about him.
This is unbelievable.
Remember, he just finished saying
like watching him bleed.
He just with Tatum, we yelled at Tatum to get up when he hurt his wrist. Now we've got, I like watching him bleed on the court.
Did anyone ask him about that, screaming at Tatum to get up? Because that was wild.
Sure they did, but the answers are not going to clear anything up for you.
I will say, I know what he's saying. Like, I loved it. Porzingis is kind of banged up all the time. He's hurt a lot of time. He misses some games. So when you see him do this and then honestly embrace him, the crowd embrace him and standing ovation. He's got blood on his head. He's got this stupid, ridiculous Band-Aid on the middle of his forehead. I love it. I love that the Celtics fans rallied around him. I love that he came right back in and shot the free throw. Like, this is toughness. This is kind of, the Euros have that reputation of not doing stuff like this. So this is awesome to see.
Okay, Boogie, let me ask you this, because, the smile, the whole thing looks, it's very WWE blood crazy. But when your coach says, I like to see him bleed on the court, what's your reaction to that if you're played for Joe?
Joe, a different dude, man. He has a sick sense of humor. I hate ever complimenting Joe because, we lost to them in college at West Virginia in that Elite Eight. So it's going to always be a rift between me and him. I got nothing but love for him. I think he's an incredible coach, but I'm always have a small part of hate when it comes to him, and that's losing to him. But
petty.
Joe's a different guy, and I think we're all on the outside trying to figure out his sense of humor.
It's grown on me.
It's crazy because this isn't even like a top 5 Mazzulla quote of the season. Right. This guy keeps us with some zingers.
It is up there, though. I like to see him bleed on the court.
Players should fight. Yeah, we were all going to die, and none of you were invited to my funeral. Really got me.
All facts.
They're all fantastic.
He is. I mean, it must be fun to cover him at this point because you really have no idea what he's going to say. Just that it's going to be gold. Paolo Banchero. Look, if you don't know who he is by now, then I don't know what to tell you. You're not paying attention. But for those who don't, like, the ceiling for him is what?
Oh, my God. MVP in this league. And, earlier you asked, would Jaylen Brown be the best player on this team? I had to hesitate for a minute because this is exactly who I thought of. And I think, obviously, this is hypothetical, but this would definitely be another 1A, 1B type situation. Banchero is one of those in this league. He's a young kid, full of talent, obviously going to be a star in this league. I think an MVP level type of star, multiple MVP level type of star. I think the only thing missing for him right now is an elite point guard. And I think once that happens for this Orlando team, when it happens, I think his game goes to another level. So he's a star in this league, up-and-coming star, full of potential, still learning, still figuring it out. But, man, he's a super talent in this league. I love his game. I love it.
Yeah, he's got it all. And I think the minute he gets to that 38 to 42% three-point shooting is where his game is going to really take off. He's got that kind of mellow mid-range where he kind of faces you up, he backs you down. And, again, this team is on the rise. This team is kind of like a Houston Rockets of the Eastern Conference where they're close, but they're still missing something. Their defense is so good, and that kept them in a lot of games. And Jamal Mosley is such a fantastic coach and dude. Guys are going to want to play for him. Guys are going to want to play hard for him. And they have this duo with Wagner and Paolo for the future. I think they do need to add a point guard. They were 27th in assists last year, so it's a lot of ISO. It's not a lot of movement.
Trae Young.
And how about this? Ooh. They only take their 30th in three-point field goals with 11. And they're last in three-point percentage of 31%. So it's like they got to find shooting to space the floor around Paolo, around Wagner, and then just get a setup guy to get the ball moving, the offense flowing more.
Trae Young.
Trae Young makes sense. Trae Young makes a lot of sense.
That'll be a young.
Man,
that's a fun.
I just want Trae Young to get to a spot where he can really show his talent.
You think it's going to happen?
I just want him to go to a good organization.
I mean, they just got rid of the GM. Like, do you think that's what's coming?
I would hope so. It makes sense.
Interesting.
And let's not forget, they're also missing Jalen Suggs, who I think when he signed the $150 million deal, it was like, everyone was like, what? That's a bargain, the way he played this year, the way he defends, the way he expanded his game for three-point shooting. So they're missing a critical part.
Trae Young.
It's manifesting it right here. Heat Cavs. This one got a little bit interesting for a second there. They survive it. Cleveland does. 121-112. Donovan with 30. Darius Garland with 21. Tyler Herro finishes this one with 33 points. Now, they're up 2-0. But the scare did come because they were down by 17.5 and things got weird. We've seen Cleveland blowout teams. We've seen them come back from double digits down. And I'm wondering, too, Chandler, at this point in the season, in the playoffs, like these types of back and forth, a little bit scary for a second. Is it good for them? Yeah, it is. And you like to be tested. And again, they had such a great historic season. They were unbelievable. Getting the 1 seed, no one thought that was going to happen. Right. They thought that was Boston's for sure. So the fact that they are doing this, I think they have something to prove here, too. Prove to the world, sweep the Heat. Like, don't take your foot off the gas. Go to Miami, get 2 more, get off your feet, get rest, and get ready for the next series and keep, because they've been doubted all year long. Sure. I even say, like, I still think the Celtics are the team to beat, and I don't know what more the Cavs can do. They've been tremendous all year long on both sides of the ball. I just can't get over how good the Celtics are. So again, I hope it comes down to Cavs and Celtics. It's going to be a hell of a series, but they have it all. They have bigs, they have shooting, their bench is deep. Donovan Mitchell showed last night when he took over the game late. He's a closer in this league, so they're awesome. It's just they're going to have to go through the Celtics, and when they do, I think they'll finally get the flowers they deserve. If we don't get Cavs Celtics, something weird happened. Absolutely, we're getting Cavs. Like, yeah, what would have happened for that? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Boogie, we've got a good quote from this one. Friend of the show, Darius Garland, was asked, "What do the Cavs need to do to continue winning?" Here he is.
What's the key to playing clean basketball like that against a team like that?
Pick on Tyler Herro and take care of the ball. Don't play in tight spaces and pick on their weak defenders. Go at them. I feel like Serena over there is like, oh, he just said that out loud. He just name-checked him. Like, I thought this was AI when I saw it. I was like, there's no he just set that up to go to Miami. You liked it? I mean, I think we all, like, what'd you like about it? Put a name on it. Putting a dress on it. I like all that. I like that energy. Straight to the point, brutally honest, and we're going to call out the weakling that we feel is the weakling, which is, you know, Tyler Herro in this situation. Obviously, there's some tension between those two. So I like it. I like this type of energy. There's tension between the Pacers and the Bucks too, but Halliburton's not saying let's go at Dame. There's no, it's just we just assume that's what he means. Anthony Edwards not going to say let's pick on Luka. It is crazy that I literally thought it was fake. I don't know what to believe these. You know what I mean? So because his face doesn't change. It's just very. Also, say it on Run It Back, Garland. You got to do it in the post game. Come on, you come on the show all the time. Mix it up on here, but again, I'm with Boogie though. I love it. This is what makes the playoffs different than the regular season. This is what makes it more intense, and this is what you see all these dust-ups and technical fouls and ejections, and that's what makes playoff basketball so much more fun to watch as a fan and as a player to compete in it. So I love it. You don't really see a straight call-out like this in the middle of the series going to their town. Gosh. But man, it's going to be awesome. What if it backfires? What would happen? You gotta live with that. My goodness. Sometimes talking trash and over talking, sometimes it backfires. That's where it gets a little tense. But you know what? Now you just sweep them and then you get the last laugh. Sweep them and say it again. Legendary. Yeah, it's legend. We picked on it. Stamp it. Did it. Taking a quick break. More Run It Back on the other side. Run it back. Some things happening that aren't game related. So let's start with the Pelicans. We didn't really talk much about it when they fired their GM, David Griffin. They hired Joe Dumars as VP of basketball operations. He made the decision. He has now hired Troy Weaver Sr. As VP of basketball operations. Let's start with you, Boogie. Current state of the New Orleans Pelicans. So how would you describe that?
Man, I can't say. I'm a fan of Joe Dumars. I do like the hire. But as far as the Pelicans go, I think they're at the bottom. I think they're in a situation where they're trying to, right this ship. Do a complete makeover when it comes to how their organization is viewed. And I think their first step was, bringing in Joe Dumars, a guy that's respected, a guy that's established, a guy that's worked all over this business, has had multiple positions. So I think that's where they are right now. But yeah, I don't think this is, the most pleasant destination for any free agent or player. They have a lot of things to figure out. They have a lot of things to right in that organization, and I just think this is the first step to doing that.
Kind of feels like Mike Dunleavy taking over the Warriors. Like he's got the minute he did that, there's a bunch of decisions to be made. Yep. Do you move Poole? Do you get rid of Clay? Do you keep Draymond? Like he's got the same kind of scenarios here. Do I really trade Zion? Is my first thing I do here. And again, do we get the #1 pick? Like there's a lot of unknown things that's going on in New Orleans. And even if it's top 3 pick, again, we're looking at 3 studs with Cooper, Bailey, and Harper. So they should get a good player in the draft. And again, it's not like they have no talent. When you look at guys like Murphy and CJ and DeJounte Murray, and I remember a couple years ago, we're talking Willie Green, Coach of the Year, Herb Jones, Alvarado. Like they were.
Alvarado was like a.
He was like a thing. I haven't heard his name all season long. Like Herb Jones was unbelievable 2-way player, and like they were a tough out for anybody because the way they played, and just through health and just through not working out. Like they were 21-61. Like that is brutal, man. So I think listen. Joe Dumars has a full plate. He's gonna have to make some big decisions, and again, the fan base is going to have to surround him. When you play, it was never like crazy packed or loud. I feel like there's never like a fun environment to play.
You know why it is fun though for media? You get a smoothie when you get in there. They come and ask you what smoothie you want.
The coolest thing about them is you get a smoothie.
I'm a big fan.
It's just, I just feel like there's potential here and they haven't touched it.
Well, look, obviously the draft thing, we don't know how that's going to play out yet. What we do know though is that the big giant elephant in the room, that's not what I meant to say, but is Zion in this particular. Yeah, and by the way, I'm not one of those people.
Are you calling him overweight?
No, because I'm not a fat shamer. Let's leave it to the other ones. And I don't even think he's fat. I think he looks great, by the way. But that is 100% at the top of every list of what they got to do. What do you do? Shut up, you two. You know I don't think. I'm one of his defenders. I'm not going to sit here and take the slander. What do you do? Are you actually walking into the room going, we are going to try to move him? Or are you still not sure?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have to at this point. I feel like it's ran its course. He can't find a way to stay healthy. It's just like, I think there's still some interest from other teams. Like we mentioned Detroit, and people went crazy on Twitter. Detroit, they're like, no, like, because it's a huge risk. But when this dude is on the floor, he is a top 10 player. He is unbelievable. He produces. He 25, 10, 5. He is a freak. It's just a question of health. It's the same kind of issue you have with the Joel Embiid, with Kawhi Leonard, but when they're on the floor, they are unbelievable. So again, I think there's still some attraction. I think there's a market for him. So I think you have to look at that if you're
What kind of market? Like, what are you getting back? What's the realistic?
You should get back.
You're at least getting one first round back.
First round and a starting caliber player. Like you're still getting something because again, look at those numbers. Yeah, he's efficient. He's just it's just availability, and we just don't know if that is ever going to happen. I always say this, and my trainer, because he was still there, Eric Otter, he said, remember when he busted through the shoe in Duke? He goes, this guy is physically impossible. It's like simple anatomy. He's not going to be able to sustain that kind of impact and explosiveness. Why,
because his foot exploded?
Just because he's such a.
So it wasn't the shoe?
Yeah, it might have been the shoe. Who knows? But it's the guy's unbelievable when he's on the floor. So I want to see him on the floor, and I think the best decision for Joe Dumars is to try and get as much as he can back right now because it hasn't worked out in New Orleans. Maybe all he needs is a fresh start.
I don't think it's that simple. This is an extreme talent, and obviously,
it's a big decision.
It's a really big decision, and if I'm Joe Dumars, this is a tough decision to make. I mean, like you said, you see the numbers, you see the production when he is on the floor. So obviously his talent is there. Obviously this is a rare talent. This isn't something you can just go in the draft and find again, regardless if you get 10 first-round picks back. But with that being said, Joe Dumars has a really tough decision because when you look at this guy when he is on the floor, he produces. So you don't want to ignore that. But at the same time, it's also a knock because he's not as available as you would like him to be. So I don't think it's as simple as just trading him away because obviously if you can right this ship, get him on track, keep him healthy, your organization and your team is moving in the right direction. So I think it's a risk with either decision you make, because what if you do trade him away and he becomes this MVP in the next year?
That's what's scary.
He finally figures it out and he's able to, remain healthy. Now you could possibly lose your job from that. And then at the same time, if you keep him and it doesn't work, it's also another bad situation. So I don't think it's as simple as just trading him away, but Joe Dumars definitely has a tough decision.
The first round, remember, Mikal Bridges, and I get it, it's a completely different attendance record situation. You got 5. 5 first round.
That was silly.
And by the way, that probably wasn't.
Yeah, that was silly.
Gobert
that wasn't economical. That was not maybe the best.
Yeah, but you also look at those deals and say, okay, I'm not doing that.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a cautionary tale.
I think that narrows the market there already. But again, is he just going to magically get healthy?
By the way, is this not the Joel Embiid conversation?
I hope it does. But like, if you're Joe Dumars, that's a risk I'm probably willing to take, because it's not 1 or 2 years. It's since he's been there. So
okay, here's a scenario. Let's say they get the #1 draft pick and they get Cooper Flagg. Are you more inclined to move Zion then, or are you more inclined to keep him and see what that looks like?
I think get rid of him. I think if you have Cooper
Flagg,
I
in that case you have to get rid of him, because they're almost the same type position.
Okay.
Right? And I think you harm the other if you give the other one too much attention, if that makes sense.
So Cooper comes in, he's
you don't want to enable Cooper Flagg and not have him grow to his potential, which I think they both could possibly play together. But again, I think when you bring in another 6'8", 6'9" wing, small forward, power forward,
who needs the ball in his hands
do it all.
As well.
And he's got hype. Like, they're going to want to grow him, develop him, run the offense through him. It's going to be hard to do if there's a Zion Williamson there. So I think if they do get the #1 pick, I think that betters the odds to trade Zion.
Oh, we have to wait for that, don't we? So it looks like Willie Green's keeping his job for now, but it was also reported. But the thing is that the reports were out there that he had, quote, lost the locker room, called the players soft. There was a franchise record number of 40-point losses, not the kind of history you want to make. I don't know. Once you hear losing a locker room, I've never really heard getting it back. So does that happen? Chandler, Lou. But I almost called you Lou again. Why did you do that?
You don't all look alike.
Shut your I'm quitting today.
How do you not lose a locker room when you're 21 and 61?
But how do you get it back?
I think winning cures everything, and they're not winning.
Fine.
So it's miserable to go to that facility every single day to watch film. Of course, I'm gonna get annoyed with Willie Green when I'm getting blown by on film, and and he's calling me soft because I'm. Let's face it, they're playing soft.
That's fair.
And they're too talented to have 21 wins this year. CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, and they get rid of Brandon Ingram. And it's just.
I mean, they had health issues too,
and they definitely were banged up. And again, a lot of teams were like Philly, a lot of teams went to the same thing. I'm just saying, this isn't a Willie Green problem. And I don't know Willie Green at all, but this is, if they fire him, it's like, why would you ever want to coach the NBA?
But if you lose something, it's like if you fall out of love with someone, you don't fall back in. I feel like once you're lost, you're lost.
Good counseling is possible.
Some therapy, some team there. Actually, that would be kind of awesome if that's what they did.
At this point, anything to help this team, organization. But as far as Willie, I think he's a great coach. He's proven that already. They've had winning seasons under Willie, but I think it's just a situation. You have 60 losses in the season. There's not much to be happy or enthusiastic about or anything. I mean, if that's the case, I'm pretty sure you're coming to work dreading it. You're dreading the day. So I agree with Chandler. When it comes to winning cures all problems. It can easily be gained back as far as gaining the locker room back, but it starts with winning. It starts with now setting a new standard for this team and organization. Obviously, they've taken a step forward with hiring Joe Dumars, and now you want it to trickle down from the top to the bottom. So we'll see what happens.
You play with some other friends. Is the ownership solid? Is this like a team? Because I feel like when I'm thinking about these expansion teams or getting rid of a team, I feel like the New Orleans is the first one.
When I was there, Mr. Benson was, rest in peace, still alive. So it was a different type situation. Now his wife is running it, and I don't want to speak on her because I don't know the ins and outs of how she runs the operations now. But obviously, it's not going well. I've always thought that New Orleans was a tough market to play in, even when it comes to the fan support. We had good teams there, and the fan support was limited. And it's no knock to the fans. It's obviously the fans react off the product, and the product has to win. But with that being said, we had some decent teams there, and the fan. It just wasn't the New Orleans is a football city. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
It's all about the Saints. I've witnessed it firsthand. So it's hard to compete with the Saints as a basketball team. Like you're considered like the stepchild or
you just need
whatever.
to be great, and then maybe that'll. So do you think they get
You
moved?
have to be
Are
great to even be noticed when it comes to the Saints.
But and that's where it's like
tough.
Portland's Trailblazers aren't great, but it's still like lit in there and crazy loud. Like Chicago, the Bulls stink. It's still packed. It's still unbelievable. So I mean, it's a basketball tradition city. The franchise is loved, no matter if you're good or bad. I just feel like you don't really have that in New Orleans. Again, I have no beef with New Orleans. It's just every time I play there, it wasn't packed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't.
You think it was you, maybe?
Yeah, maybe I just.
Nobody wants to see Chandler Parsons.
I mean, when I got traded to New Orleans that year, Mr. Benson actually came down before the start of the game and personally thanked me because ticket sales went up. But it goes to show it's a big thing for them just to have some sort of an increase in ticket sales because it's not a real thing there.
Right.
By the way, is that awkward? Thank you for your presence.
Oh yeah, it was pretty. I never
awesome.
experienced that before, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'll send you the invoice.
Fair enough. We'll take a quick break. More running back on the other side. What an odd compliment to have to respond to.
Run it up.
Our favorite topic, anonymous. It is too bad Lou's not here because he loves when we do anonymous subjects. But The Athletic did their anonymous player poll, and we got some results. We're going to start with MVP because that's a nice big positive. And 56%, yep, there it is, SGA. Lou would like that too. And there you go. That's what it looks like. That's how it was run down. Boogie, are you good with it?
These votes are from players?
Players, 155 players.
I'm good with it. I think SHAI has had a fantastic, year. They're #1 in the West. Obviously, the West is the toughest conference this year. It's been 2 consecutive years in a row that they're #1. So, I mean, he obviously had a chance last year, and I think his chances have only increased this year. So, SHAI's my pick for MVP this year, so I couldn't agree more.
Do players get fatigue, MVP fatigue?
Well,
Jokic didn't have that big a
No, I
number.
think players, if you do a poll who's the best player in the NBA, I think they would vote Jokic. But this year, the MVP, they're 18 games above the Nuggets. So team success winning, that has a lot to do with the MVP winner. So again, he statistically was great. I think he had the most 30, 40, 50, whatever games he led the league. And it's SGA's for sure. But again, there's a difference. If I'm starting a team right now, I want Jokic, but he's the MVP of the season.
Okay, so here we go. It's going to start getting good here. Who wins the title, Chandler? This is what they got.
Can we guess before we put it up there?
No, we're going to throw it up there.
Okay, understood.
I'll ruin the surprise. But Boston, there you go.
That's exactly how I would probably vote it. Yeah.
Pretty legit.
The Lakers getting, who voted that?
The Lakers.
Yeah, who voted? Is that Austin Reeves vote?
This is pretty legit. This is pretty legit.
By the way, interesting that 155 people voted for MVP, but only 137 went with what you just said.
And who are you going to go with over the Lakers, though? Are you going to put Denver fourth? Are you going to put
Clippers,
but if you're
definitely.
Clippers?
I would put. I'm just saying, as a player,
Clippers definitely have
Lakers are on there.
They got that right. I think if you look back at what we picked too, I think it's Celtics for Celtics Thunder. I think was what the majority of people had in the finals.
It's kind of less than 2% of the players voted for Warriors. So I don't know if they just it was too little, too late, and they decided.
Probably. Was it before the trade?
Probably not. No, it's probably recent. Face of the league. This is a fun one. As according to the players, 5 years from now, he will 100%.
Oh, 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year from now. Just 1 month.
Yeah.
One off season.
That's a pretty.
This year, he's probably if he didn't get hurt. Like, what are you? Like, this guy's unbelievable.
That's pretty good.
And because Jokic, I'm saying he's the best player. He's not like the face. He doesn't want to be the face of the league. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. Wemby in the next, again, I think next year he's arguably a top 3 MVP guy if he stays healthy.
5 years.
Spurs are going to get better. So yeah, I agree with that too. Face, I feel like right now, Anthony Edwards is kind of the face of the league. His personality is
in this moment,
like right now, it's like a SGA and still kind of LeBron step, but those guys we're kind of weeding out the older guys. So there's this new generation of guys, and it's definitely Wemby.
Yeah, I think 5 is almost too long of a window.
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months is probably more realistic. Here we go, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Asked which organization is the worst.
Oh.
Yeah, this will be fun. Bam! Who wants to take this one? I mean, that's Sacramento taking a stray there, but Charlotte's first, Chandler.
I mean, they were historically bad. They haven't been good in a while. They draft horrible. They don't sign free agents. They're absolute dumpster fire. But
look at the votes on this one. Even fewer votes.
It's It's just tough. Like, again, they haven't won in so long. Remember this year they went on that run where they lost the three-game span where they lost like by 150 points. The most. They're losing bad. It's ugly. They have LaMelo Ball. I like Brandon Miller. I kind of like the pieces they have, but they're so far away from being good. And that comes down to ownership. It's been like this forever. And it's not like this is anything new. The Wizards.
I mean, Boogie played for 2 of those.
Yeah, I mean, that's once again a pretty legit list. I mean, I think the Kings obviously took steps back. Took a step back this year. They finally made the playoffs 2 seasons ago, and I don't think they really improved as far as, you know, continuing to compete as a playoff team or even a contender. The Wizards are a joke. Pelicans are going through their issues. We just spoke on that. And Charlotte, I mean, I think they have a great, you know, talent in LaMelo, but I don't really see them surrounding him with the pieces to elevate his game or, you know, elevate the team. So these are all legit. This
is where I love the Rick Carlisle saying, put your name on who's voting it, because imagine if these are the Hornets players voting for the Hornets being the worst franchise. Like that would mean something more.
I mean, they would know.
Like they know better than we do. So I feel like I want to know how many people would actually do the survey if you had to put your name on it.
It is funny, though, that the fewest number of voters were on that. It's like they don't want to do the negative votes, which I find interesting because that's the part I want to do the most. Like, yeah, let's do this. But then there's the fighting one. Who would you least like to fight? I don't think there's a shock here. Right. I feel like this is sort of the list usually. I don't know. Who's scarier to you, Boogie? Isaiah or Johnson? Like, who would you least like? By the way, 140 people voted for this one, so I liked it.
I mean, scary is. I don't know about that part, but
one
as far as this list, I think we all know James Johnson. I've been knowing James since high school. He's official. He's one of those. Well trained. Yeah, your best decision is to talk it out and walk away. So.
Yeah, James.
I mean, for the rest of the list, I mean, I don't know personally, but I've known James for a very long time.
I love that that's like, people are like, no, I don't know.
It's because you know he's got like background, like black belt. And
the background
like, so that's, again.
So it wouldn't just be like craziness. It's like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, crazy doesn't.
Like Isaiah Stewart's big and talks and loud, but like James Johnson knows how to fight.
This is a trained killer.
Yeah,
this is a trained killer.
We know that guy can like put me to sleep. Isaiah Stewart might just be barking.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I love that that's the rep. Take it.
I want a James Johnson like Jake Paul fight here. Like
Stop! I don't want Jake Paul.
I want something like that.
No more Jake Paul.
Put my money on JJ, man.
We'll be back. Guys, we got a you buying that? Yes, of course we do. Kendrick Perkins. It's got to be something with Kendrick Perkins in here. He believes Jaren Jackson Jr. is the most overhyped player in the league, and he's not even a top 10 big. Who wants to start here?
I'll start.
Okay.
I agree with Kendrick. I've been watching a young fella play, and it was a couple sequences in this playoff matchup with the Thunder where he was posting up Alex Caruso and he was struggling. And I mean, as a big, that's unacceptable. One, I think you're way too talented to even allow that. Two, I think it sets a tone and a standard not only for yourself, but the guys that come in and defend you, and they think, you know, you're soft or you're a pushover, or even worse, you're just not even that good. And I think you're doing a disservice to yourself with that approach. I need you to get a little meaner. I need you to get a little more physical. I need you to get a little more rougher. Throw some elbows, hard fouls, something. I just want you to set a new standard for yourself with how you approach the game and how these teams are matching up and guarding you. I think you have the ability to do so. I think you're talented, but you got to go out there and do it every night. And I also think this is part of the Memphis Grizzlies' problem right now. You promoted this guy in Jaren Jackson as being the so-called best player on the team. You know, you kind of take the ball out of Ja's hands, and these are the results that you're getting from it. You've kind of lost your point guard and superstar in Ja with now promoting this guy to that new position. And then at the same time, the guy that you promoted isn't setting the standard that you need to not only elevate your team, but to even be respected as a team. So I do agree with Kendrick to a certain extent. as of right now, the product that we're seeing right now, but I do think this kid has enough talent to overcome what we're seeing right now.
That's
and
important.
actually prove that he's that type of guy. So,
Like he's got it, he just has to get it.
He's definitely got it. You just got to go do it.
He's good, but he could. We think he could be great, and that's the problem. You're just wanting more. I think he's a top 10 big. I think top 10's that's a stretch. Like you can't name top 10 bigs better than
right now in this current moment. I can't.
That's crazy pills to me. But he leaves you wanting more, and I think eventually we'll get. He's still young. He's still growing, but come on, top 10 bigs. He's top 10 big.
I mean, I'd make you do the list, but we have other questions. Bob Myers, now we're beginning that because now there are teams sort of being rumored that he may go and work for, Phoenix being one of them. I don't know that you want KD to stay, but if that's the case, do you think he could get him to stay, Chandler?
I think he's one of the best. I look at his resume, look what he did in Golden State, kind of building that whole dynasty. He's brilliant. He knows the game. He's been around a while. He started off as an agent. Like he knows both sides of the business, so he is the perfect guy to come into any franchise, honestly. It's going to be expensive, and I don't know if I'm him. He's got a beautiful job now. He's good on TV. He's got a good gig going on now. But, yeah, if there was one guy that's available to come and kind of change a franchise around, it's Bob Myers, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree more. I'm a huge fan of Bob Myers. I had the opportunity to work with him when I was with the Warriors. He's relatable. He knows how to talk to his players. Even more importantly, he knows how to talk to his stars. And he just has a weird way of, being able to relate, also be comforting, and also be understanding. I do know on a personal level that, he was one of the main reasons that it worked in Golden State with Kevin Durant. He was always that middleman between, KD and Steve at times. So, and also, others in that situation. But I think Bob is the perfect guy for the job. If it is a chance of keeping KD in Phoenix, Bob is the guy to do it.
I don't even know if that's what his main goal would be to do at that point. You know what? We're running out of time. We have a minute. I'm just going to skip these last two. I'm pulling an audible because I do want to know what you guys think about Knicks Pistons really, really fast because I do think that's the game a lot of people are excited to see tonight. Back in Detroit. The crowd will be amazing. Chandler, who's getting it?
I think it's the Pistons. I think, first of all, Campaign's got to get more minutes. He won the game for the Knicks in game one, plays 4 minutes in game two, makes 0 sense. But I love everything that they did with the tickets. You have to be in Michigan to be able to get the tickets. They're eliminating all the hoopla, the Knicks fans.
Well, they'll be there.
I think Cade will be fantastic, and I think they get it. All
right, so Pistons win. Boogie, you agree?
I do think it's a great chance the Pistons win this one. Obviously, they're going home. Crowd's going to be electric. It's going to be very hostile in there. You're going to get a lot of that Detroit energy. Man. But I'd also think it depends on the performance of, Cat. I think he's the deciding factor.
He can't have a bad game, right?
Can't have another 10-point game. Obviously, you know what you're up against when it comes to the physicality. So he has to match that and outperform it.
Got some good games tonight. A lot to watch. We will be back on Monday. Boogie, you rule.
Have a good weekend.
Kyle. See you on Monday.
Run it back, run it up, then run it back, yeah.